I mean, for me, I'm going to try my best not to leave myself with a 50-yard shot just because it's a difficult shot to mimic, and, it's hard to, hit it 54 yards. So the closest I'll try to get myself to the green is 85.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the same way.
Same with you, John?
It's a perfect, for me, it would be a perfect 3/4 60. It's
For
just,
85.
yeah,
How about
around
you,
that,
Matt?
yeah.
That's
Collin?
the same way. 85 for me is like pretty much my number. I mean, 80 I can go, but I just feel like when you get to this, like too close to here, it's so hard to control your spin because if sometimes you nip it and then it like grabs really quickly, or other times like it doesn't come off because you're not taking as full of a swing. But I feel like when you're hitting,
It's just tougher to control. It's tougher to control the distance.
Yeah.
But a lot of distance is spin.
Yeah.
Controlling your spin.
How about
Yeah,
when the pin's back though? Because like if the pin's back and I get it to 50 yards, I'll do that and like as long as it's not tight.
I don't care. I don't
No?
care where the
You wouldn't
flag
even
is.
do it?
Yeah, well, actually, I like what you're saying. So a lot of it, I go based on where the pin is. If the
Yeah.
pin's short and you need extra spin, I might leave myself a little further back. If it's in the back and there's no bunker in between, like
Exactly,
in this
like
case,
it's
you can roll it out there. So it all depends on the shot, the circumstances.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
but like Dustin was saying too, it's like
Back pin though, but I wouldn't want to leave it at 50. I'd try to get it as close.
Yeah.
well, yeah, like you're trying to get as close as
Yeah.
possible.
Well, yeah, 50 yards to a back pin. Yeah,
It's
it's
a lot
fine
easier
because,
than
Well, you would be up there. You're only maybe 20 from the front edge of the green, so
Exactly.
it's totally different.
Yeah,
it's
true.
like
So yeah, I
So
agree with
even
on
if
that
you
one.
don't want to, how often would you leave yourself that yardage, even though you're trying not to?
Well, I don't. I mean, but like you said, if there's a back pin, a 50-yard shot, but that's different because you're only, you're not far from the front edge, so
Yeah.
you can get the ball almost all the way to the
I
green.
think,
so
yeah,
that's an easier shot.
we're all getting imagine a par 5 where you can get in 2 or you're borderline getting in 2. If you can get it within 20 yards of the front, I think we're gonna go for it.
Yeah, we do.
Now, if you need to absolutely hit it freaking perfect to get to 30 yards, the odds of being 50 yards away is too many. So like that's
Then you lay that.
that's when you're trying to get farther back. That's kind of
To a number.
if you're close to the green and you can pick your spot too, because in that case you're gonna be short, but you can pick your spot of where you want to miss it.
So when you're picking your wedges as your set makeup, what do you look at? If a 50-yard shot doesn't come into the equation, but you're looking to get some wedges off the tour truck, or an amateur's looking to get good gapping, where would you start with that decision?
I mean, I've always had 4, including the pitching wedge.
Yeah,
I don't know about
so,
you guys. Like I go 60, 55, 51.
Yeah, so I mean, I've always gone 48 with my wedge, 54 and 60.
Okay.
So that's what I've always played. The last year and a half or so, I put in a 64, just because I was carrying a 5-wood or a 2-iron, and I'd played 6 months of the year, and I look back like, all right, how many times have I hit this? I'd hit it like twice in 12 tournaments, and so I put in a 64 because I tried going 52, 56, 60, and I was a good wedge player, so I had too many options. I liked the spacing I had, so I added the 64 to help me more around the greens, and because I wasn't using the other club, I could get away with not having a 5-wood or a 2-iron, but the 64 I'd actually use around the greens or bunkers, because my bunker game, I went from, I was a mediocre bunker player to, I think last year I was
Amazing.
I think I was might have led the tour in bunker.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing.
I think
just
too-
from
And everybody
putting
plays
64 in.
raw wedges.
Oh no, I got the high toes. Are they raw or are they not? I don't know. I just
They're all raw.
Yeah, the faces.
I
But let's
so
stick on
lucky
high
that.
toe here for a second, because it has the grooves all the way to the toe. Now, you in particular are very specific about your
Yeah.
bounce and the 4-way camber. Tell us a little bit about what you're looking for in that, and then tell us about your high toe and the grooves all the way to the toe and what that gives you.
to respond to what you were saying earlier, I think when I look at wedges, there's not the 60. I'm looking towards trajectory, how it's coming out, the feel through the ground, and the distance between each shot, and one of the gaps is basically going to be dictated by the loft. But when it comes around the green, which is where the 60, I use the 60 most for. The reason why I like the high toe is because I'm rarely a player's going to hit a shot with a square face. So having that extra face and extra grooves when I'm hitting it open is just more comfortable. Especially,
in the rough.
Yeah,
Bunkers, I
if
think,
it,
too.
yeah, same in the bunkers, in the rough. I like to have the face open, and sometimes you do hit it high or a little bit off the toe. And you know, having that extra control when it comes to that it's almost like the driver, right? You have that forgiveness. It's the error is a little bit smaller. Yeah.
Which is where I have the 64 is the high toe, so I got to keep all the same thing I'd been playing. Just added a new wedge that helped me a ton around the greens.
To me, when you open up the high toe, it like almost looks like it has more loft because of the face, the way it's built, and it just makes it easier.
It's also more path for the ball to travel through the face to get more spin. There's more grooves all the way to the top.
We all know especially when you open up the face, we all hit chip shots and bunker shots. I mean, we hit them off the toe.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to hit them off the heel, so we all hit them towards the toe. I mean, everyone does when you open it up.
What about the bounce of the wedge? How important is that to you guys?
Very. It's very personal too.
Yeah.
Like
Explain what it is, because I think a lot of people still aren't quite certain. So customers aren't certain what it is.
The bounce of the wedge. I mean, it goes from the leading edge to the base of the club, and the shape is going to dictate a lot how the ball's going to come out. Like in my case, because I'm pretty steep at it, and like I said, I like to have the face open. Mine is rather wide, with a pretty thick sole, and that helps me not dig in too much and just slide through. It's great for bunkers. You know, it just goes through the bunkers and the sand pretty easily. Depending on your technique, if you're somebody who likes to clip it like Jason Day, who's really shallow, I mean, his leading edge is like a knife.
Yeah, see, I'm the same. I'm kind of, I'm not real shallow, but I like a sharp, kind of straight leading edge with more bounce in the back, so it'll get in the ground, but then it won't dig.
Yeah.
So, Collin and Matt, when you listen to these guys, obviously they've been on tour a little longer than you two. Do you think there's more things that you can experience through having the ability to try different mill grind soles now and different things that are available? Is there anything that triggers in your mind as a player and you think, yeah, maybe I should look at that?
Well, it's just like, I mean, John was spot on, like how when you pick a wedge, you want to see the right trajectory and you want to see it come through the turf the way you want it. And, you know, talking about whether it's a rounded edge or a straight edge or, you know, a wider sole or a thinner sole. It's just something you got to mess around because we go everywhere in the country and everywhere's different.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know about, like, I have personally never changed wedges based on grasses or whatever, but like, it's about how you want it to come through, and that's the most important because if you don't trust it coming through the grass, you're not, especially when if you do leave yourself a 50-yard shot, I think it's the worst case scenario there.
Obviously, too, what's great about our wedges now is they're all the same because they're milled.
Yeah.
When before, when I was getting a new 60, I'd have to get 6 of them. I'd go out and hit chips, and then I'd find the one I liked the best, and I'd hit some more chips, and then I would, go in the truck, have Wade or Key, grind on it a little bit, go back out, hit some more, and tell them, all right, this is what I'm feeling. Then I'd have to go, maybe grind a little bit more. So it's very difficult to get, to replicate your wedge.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Then, once that one wore out, then you'd have to go back through the same process. And
on that, how often are you changing now? How often are all you guys changing wedges?
Every couple.
Well, it all depends on personal preference, right? Like,
every couple tournaments.
Yeah, I would change
60.
Yeah, depending on. I don't think I've changed 52 and 56 all year.
Yeah.
The 60 I do, and all depends on the tournament, right? Sometimes it's soft, like on the West Coast swing.
You might not change it.
Yeah, you might not change it at all.
You don't want to have
Are
to.
you starting to see any spin changes because you don't change?
Well, no. So we get the sandblast on the face, and that makes a difference.
Well, that's
once that wears off.
I mean, obviously, right there, you've got a raw face. Let's transition into you guys hitting some, because I know you want to
peel this off first.
Peel it off, and like, what's that feel like? Having a raw face, knowing that this thing hasn't even seen oxygen. Like, what's the deal on that?
You want to hit the nippiest shot you can.
Grips like good, and so you wouldn't put a new wedge in going into Pebble in early January
because it's soft.
It's wet.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Right. But you know that, and so 52. I might still have a new one with me just in case.
Yeah.
But 52. Most likely I'm gonna just hit the same one because.
60.
So you plan when you're going to play new grooves based on where you're going to be around
the
the world.
If I'm at a
Links
firm golf course
Yeah.
or something, I'm putting in a new set.
Yeah.